So remember, whatever is connected to the variable I have to get rid of. So I want to make that 13 a 0. Well, I make the 13 a 0 by taking the opposite of it. The opposite of positive 13 is negative 13. So I'm actually subtracting it from both sides of my equal sign. And I'm going straight down my columns. 13 minus 13, that's actually 0. I don't really need to bring that down. I'm bringing down my m, my equal sign, and what's 15 minus 13? 2, right? So in order to make this negative 5, 0, I really need positive 5. And I have to do that to both sides of my equal sign. That becomes 0. I bring down my x. I bring down my equal sign. Remember your integer rules. Negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. How do I get rid of positive 8? I take away 8 from both sides of my equal sign. So I'm left with x, bring down my equal sign. 28 minus 8 is 20. How do I get rid of 16? I subtract 16 from both sides of my equal sign. I bring down my v, bring down my equal sign. I can't bring this down because it's just 0. 1 minus 16 is negative 15. All right, so hopefully these go by pretty quickly, but that you're still thinking them through, making sure you're not making silly errors. So you could always go back and think negative 15 plus 16 does equal 1, right? I'm gonna add 19 to get rid of the negative 19 there. To both sides, bring down my b equals 17. So you could think 17 minus 19 does equal negative 2. If I add 12 to both sides, x equals, my signs are different, so I'm really subtracting. Did you get negative 19? So negative 19 minus 12 is negative 31. Yes? Did you guys get that there? Yes, okay. The back side of page 1. To get rid of a negative 20, I'm adding 20 because I want it to be 0. So I'm left with m equals, well, 20 minus 1 is 19. To get rid of negative 20, again, I have to add 20. This is just like number 7, right? I'm adding 20 to both sides. So this time I have x is equal to 7, because negative 13 plus 20 is 7. Remember, you can always go back and think it through. 7 minus 20 is negative 13. And that's what you might want to do on the last problem too. All right, so we have to remember what it means when I have a number next to a letter. It denotes multiplication. How do I undo multiplication? With division. And how do we show division in algebra? With a fraction bar, a vinculum. So if b is being multiplied by negative 16, I have to divide both sides by negative 16. Did you guys put this one into your calculator? No, what'd you get? 11. 11 times 16 is 176. And it's positive. So if you were using a calculator and you wanted to check that out, I think I brought all the broken calculators over here. Let's see if this works. You can use this negative sign. Negative. Sorry, you can't see that, Dan. Negative 176 divided by negative 16 is, yeah, this one's in scientific notation. Times 10 would give me 11. That's why I have this calculator over here. All right. What is being done to x? It's being multiplied by 4. So I have to divide both sides by 4. X is equal to 13. Again, you can use your multiplication table. You can use your calculator. X is being multiplied by 6. To undo multiplication, again, I divide both sides. Because 6 divided by 6 is 1, 1x is equal to 7. And then you can put it in. Yes, 6 times 7 does equal 42. This time I have to divide both sides by negative 15. Because remember, I want 1n. N is equal to negative 4. Is that what you got? All right, now we're switching gears here a little, aren't we? What's being done to A? It's being divided by 6. So I have to multiply both sides of my equation by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1A. I have A equals 6 times 13. Here again, x is being divided by 3, so now I have to multiply both sides by 3. So 1x is equal to 30. And you can always think them back through, right? 30 divided by 3 does equal 10. If you can't think it through when you're done and have it make sense, you're probably not doing it right. So go back to your notes. Chances are we've done a problem just like pretty much all of these. If x is being divided by 5, I have to multiply both sides by 5. This becomes 1x. So just x is equal to negative 25. Well, negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. If m is being divided by 2, I have to multiply both sides by 2 to get 1m is equal to 10. So then if you thought it through, 10 divided by 2 does equal 5. Right? Okay, now we also do one step in our two-step, right? But in our two-step, our first step is always to add or subtract. Our second step is always to multiply or divide. So to get rid of this negative 3, I would have to add 3 to both sides. And I'm showing my work. I have to bring down my negative 10n. Do not forget the sign in front of your term. And then I have my equal sign. This became 0, right? That's why we added 3 to both sides. This becomes negative 130. So I'm dividing now because when I have a number next to a letter, it means multiplication. To undo multiplication, I have to divide. So I'm dividing both sides by negative 10. When I divide by a 10, this becomes, or a negative 10 rather, this becomes a positive n, or 1n. And here, these become positive, and this cancels out. So 13 over 1 is really just 13. Or you can put it in your calculator too, right? If you're struggling with those arithmetic concepts. How do I get rid of a positive 9? I have to subtract it then. I take the opposite of it. So that becomes 0. That's why we did it. I bring down my 2x. I bring down my equal sign, and then I say 21 minus 9 is 12. Now I have to get rid of my 2, so I'm dividing both sides by 2. X is equal to 6. And then think it through if you need to. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 9 does equal 21. Okay? 2 more on this page. How do I get rid of the negative 3? I take a positive 3 to both sides, right? So I'm bringing down that negative 8b. That became 0, so it went hasta la bye-bye. 117 plus 3 is 120. Now I'm dividing both sides by -8. I know B is something negative. What'd you get? 19. I would probably look at my multiplication table or use my calculator. I would follow my 8. So I got to 120, 15. So -15. And you can think it through. -8 times -15 is 120. 120 minus 3 is 117. All right, here I have to subtract 4 from both sides of my equal sign. I'm lining everything up nice and neatly so I can bring down my 2x. 4 minus 4 is 0, so that goes away. -14 minus 4, it's getting more negative. Be careful here. When in doubt, you can always use your calculator. How do I get rid of my 2? I divide both sides by 2, so I have 1x. So x is equal to -9. And again, you can think back. 2 times -9 is -18. -18 plus 4 is -14. Always think back through. You should have plenty of time tomorrow to check your work. How do I get rid of that 1? I subtract it from both sides. You should know what your first step is in these, right? Now, instead of dividing by 14, to get rid of dividing by 14, I have to multiply by 14. So be careful here that you're showing your work. 14n divided by 14 is 1n. -1 times 14 is -14. So essentially, -14 divided by 14 is -1. 1 plus that -1 does equal 0. Again, I have to get rid of my constant first, so I'm subtracting it from both sides. 5 minus 5 is 0, it goes away. I bring down my b divided by 3. 1 minus 5 is actually -4. Now to get rid of dividing by 3, I have to multiply both sides by 3. So this becomes b equals -12. Does that make sense? And so these are very similar. The next two are similar to the two above. So I have to subtract 10. That gives me n divided by 2 equals -5. Oh, I can't stop there. I don't have n by itself. I gotta multiply both sides by 2, so n equals -16. -16 divided by 2 is -8. 10 plus a -8 is 2. And I'm gonna add 9 to both sides over here. Bring down my n over 20. -1. When I multiply both sides by 20, I'm left with n equals -20. So if you think it through, -20 divided by 20 is -1. -9 plus a -1 is -10. All right, so 2 ways to get the answer for 25. Olivia solves the problem. 5x minus 1 equals 26 and gets x equals 5. Check to see if her answer is correct. Show your work. Okay, so one way is you can put what she got back in. So if you put parentheses in place of your x, remember how we used to solve expressions, and then put 5 in for x, we really have 5 times 5, which is 25 minus 1. I'm just bringing down the rest of the problem. But what is 25 minus 1? 24. Does 24 equal 26? 24 does not equal 26. So if you correct, we would say no. So you could show it that way, or you could try, solve the problem yourself, right? We could say 5x minus 1 is equal to 26. So this or this, one of these two ways you need to show. So I could add 1 to both sides. I bring down my 5x. 5x equals 27. So I would divide both sides by 5. And we know right away it's something more than 5, right? Because we would have 5 2/5 or 5.4. If you put it into your calculator, 27 divided by 5 will come out as 5.4, not 5. And you would say that 5.4 does not equal 5. Because she said it equals 5. And it's not 5, not 5, not 5. Do you see how they just want you to either check her answer by putting it back into the equation or show what it would be equal to? Either one of those ways will show that she is not correct. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes. Make sure you're getting that practice quiz done so you can use it tomorrow. Make sure your packet pages 1 through 15 are complete. You can also be working on those Boom cards or your pixel art too for practice, okay? Okay, okie dokies. All right. Tomorrow